Tweep, tweep. How? Lifetouch. Yeah. Tweep, tweep. Alright, so today I will be going over layout, captions, team photos, write-ups, and headlines for lifetouch pages. So what I'm going to do really quickly, if we would go full screen, is just give you guys an example, or give you guys, brief you guys on the terms when we're talking about team photo, or when we're talking about pages. So this is what I have up here. It's just Senior Girls Feel Lucky. It's one of the pages. It's not complete fully, as you can see. There's no write-up here. There's no captions. There's no naming. But yeah, I'm just going to go over a brief summary of some of the terms you might hear when we're talking about pages. So the first one is captions. Most of you will probably gather what that means. Is description. Oh my god, if it would zoom. Descriptions underneath each photo with the names of the people in the photo and a funny remark about what they're doing, a joke, or just something. There's no real way to do captions completely properly as long as they're appropriate. Just something that is funny, is a good description, or something like that. But you gotta have the names of everybody in the photo, and what I tend to do is put the text boxes underneath each photo, because then you can just do above, colon, space, their names, and then the caption. Yeah, so those are captions. You'll see them there in text boxes underneath each photo, or you'll see them on a page. And then the second one is obviously, or it's not, why am I saying that obviously? The second one is headline. So what the headline is a title to a page. So every page will have a headline. They may not be called headlines. I call them a headline just because it's what they are. But this is a headline right here, as you can see circled right here, like I just said. What a headline is, title of a page. It's extremely similar, I think almost identical to the way we caption, or not caption, tag photos. So you'll see abbreviate the grade senior right here. So it doesn't, we abbreviate it so it doesn't take up the entire top row. It looks a lot better when it's just like half the page like this. So senior girls field hockey with spaces in between because you don't want it to be just one big word. Yeah, so that's what a headline will be. Every page will have one. Not all of them are going to be perfect. You can adjust them as you go. Yeah. And then the third thing, obviously, there wouldn't be a yearbook without photos. So, third major thing, photos. There's a couple things in photos. It's just not just random photos around the page. I'm gonna go over this in more detail a little bit later, but you want to have a team photo. And where you want to place the team photo is underneath the headline. Because the first place people look is at this big text box in the top left of the screen. And when they see this, they're going to look down and see this photo with a ton of people in it, with the entire team. Hopefully, you can get the entire team. Yeah, this is the team photo. This is a big part, especially in sports pages. You need to have a team photo. So when people look back, say in like 5, 10 years, they're not going to think of everybody on their team, but they look at the team photo, they see everybody. So that's one big thing, is getting as many people on the team as possible in the team photo, and also getting coaches. Now, here's a couple tips for taking team photos. You want to position, what I like to do if there's not too many people is do 2 rows. Now that for just like this in this photo right here, you'll see the back row standing with coaches on either side. You want to make him try and make it as balanced as possible. What I mean by that is you want to have, look at this diagram up here. You want to have the back row and the front row a little bit smaller. And the front row will be kneeling so you can see the faces of everybody in the photo. And if you need to, you can do like a third row on benches or just make it bigger. And then coaches, I recommend putting on the back row on either side, because that's just how it looks good, in my opinion, in my experience. That's that's how you do that's how you lay out a team. But there's a couple other tips for taking them. If it's really, really sunny, which it probably won't be because it's Vancouver, and it's a sports page, don't try and take it in the shade, because a lot of the time it'll be in these open fields with trees around them, and those trees create splotchy light that creates high shadows and then really, really dark highlights and dark shadows. So what I personally would do is, it'll be different for everybody, but just take it in the sunlight. As you can see in this photo, there might be a couple highlights, but if you expose for the highlights and you shoot at a lower ISO, since it is in the sun, you will get a better team photo. Now, if it's in the gym, doesn't matter. Don't just take it in the middle of the floor of the gym. I would take it, I don't know, maybe underneath the net. I would use benches if you're doing it in a gym. But since this is outside, this is field hockey, I took it in front of the net. Usually you want to have it lined up with the net so it's like all perfectly even. It doesn't matter that much. As long as you have everybody and everybody's happy, it's a team photo. So yeah, that's a couple tips. Try and make it even if you can. If not, no big deal. Yeah, those are the three main things. Now I'll go over a checklist when starting a page. Now I'm gonna go over a checklist regarding making your first page or just making pages in general. Now, I don't know how you will access pages, but what I do is go into ladder diagram right here. Oh, I gotta click. Okay, or not saving that. Ladder diagram, it's gonna look different for you because I have access to all the pages in the book to make sure to edit everything and everything like that. But you won't. You only have access to pages that you're doing. So how I think you'll access them is hovering over Book Builder right here. So it'll be in this top little bar right here. Go into ladder diagram, and you'll see your pages here. They'll be labeled because every single thing that will be becoming a page has a tag. I went through and named every page. There's staff portraits here. There's the yearbook page. There's Terry Fox run. That's already pretty good. Yeah. Now I'm gonna give a little checklist. It's really simple to access your page. You click onto it, and you're in your page. Now, if you're doing one side of a page, so say this is senior boys basketball on the left side, and this is senior golf on the right side, but you're only doing basketball, just edit the left page. Leave the other page alone. Yeah, because we can't make it so you edit one. You have to be editing both. It's a bit weird, but yeah. So now, first thing I'm gonna go over, when you get into this, the page editing software, is to have Snap to Grid enabled. What is Snap to Grid? I'll show you when you don't have it on. You see how this is just floating around? It's not snapping anything. It's not symmetrical at all. And you see the numbers in the bottom? That's the placement. So it's going to be completely arbitrary to anything. It's not going to be connected to any measurements, any units or lifetouch picas, whatever those are. But the way you enable it to snap to these lines on the back and snap so that it's symmetrical and can match identically, say you want to do a caption here, the way you get to snap directly to the bottom of that is by enabling snap to grid and page margins. They're already enabled, but when you start accessing a page, you might have to toggle them on and off because lifetouch is a bit stupid sometimes. Now you can see in the bottom of this, it's showing numbers that are only in points, so that it's snapping to the margins on the page. As you see, this is an inch square. Move it over, it's on another inch square. It's snapped to margin. Whenever you're editing a page or making a page, make sure to have this enabled. Because if you don't, it will look really bad once you print it. Like, really bad. Because everything's not going to be aligned, it's going to be barely off, but when you print it, you can see. So I'll just tell you again how to access it. It's in this tools bar up here. It's in the guides and grids. You want to just toggle these on and off. The first two, the last one, doesn't matter. Just these two. Yeah, so that's one major tip. Whenever you're editing photos, have snap to grid and snap to guides on. Yeah, and here's the checklist right here. I've already gone over having captions, headlines, photos, and team photos. Yeah, so snap to grid, very important. You have to have that on if you're doing a page. Otherwise, it's going to look very, very bad when it prints. And then we're going to have to manually and very minutely check if every page is snap to grid. If you never knew what Snap to Grid is. So please, please use Snap to Grid in here, first 2 ones. Yeah, that's one thing you're always going to want to have. Now, I'm going to show you guys what a layout will look like. Now, you may be wondering what these gray boxes are. I'll tell you guys what those are actually. These gray boxes are image frames. Now, you see this red eye right there? I think that's an eye. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You guys see this right here. That means that this will not be printed in the book. So, you see this photo right here. This is in this. Okay. This is in an image, or a frame. An image box is the right word. What you can do to import an image to this image box right here is you'll have this left little tab right here. You want to click on My Images. This will show you everything that's been uploaded. And this is why we do tagging. You can see all 3 sports are tagged right here. All 2 grad stuff, events are all together. So this makes it so easy to find photos. And then you go, say this is I'm going to do senior field hockey. I already have a senior field hockey page. But I'm going to do, as an example, this as a senior field hockey page. So say I want a vertical photo, because this not photo frame, this photo box is more vertical than it is horizontal. So what you want to do is match, say, you see how this is a more vertical frame? How it's one person going to be focusing on more information vertically than horizontally? Match photos to frames. So you see, you might want to make this frame a tiny bit smaller and match it. As this is a vertical photo, because there's less people on the sides, it's a bunch of wasted space on the sides if you, for example, put that in a horizontal frame. But if you're doing a horizontal photo, put it in a horizontal frame. As you can see right here, there's more people stretching out wider sideways than there is vertical. So do a wider box than a taller box. You want to do frames proportionate to photos. Anyways, so how you import photos to these photo frames is by clicking and dragging. So say I'm looking for a good photo really quickly. These are okay. I'm going to import this one. What you do, click, drag, and it'll turn yellow when it's going to drop. You drop it. Boom! Works, hopefully. If it wants to. Now you can zoom in and out by double clicking and sliding this up and down. This might be really finicky, and sometimes you might have to go like enter this. Yeah. And what this fit button does right here is it fits the edges of the photo to the edges of the frame. So it looks nice. I use it sometimes. Yeah. Now you're gonna ask me how you get these photos or these boxes. Now you don't actually have to use these boxes. You can just straight up import them by clicking and dragging images to the page. But obviously these will import full quality, and then you're gonna have to drag them down. It's just a bit annoying. You're gonna have to just like that. The way you get these, I don't actually know how to get them straight from the menu. It's a really weird menu. What I do is I click. First of all, you have to import one photo. So say I didn't have anything on this page with this photo, and I wanted to put in image boxes for a layout. Because you can do a layout without having actual photos by just copy and pasting these boxes. What you do, click on this, Control C, Control V, boom. You have the same photo, and these are both in photo boxes. But what you can do now is click this settings icon up here and clear the contents. There's a bunch of other stuff in here. You don't really need to use it. I think clear content's the only one. Then this turns this into a photo frame because it's the same thing, just without a photo in it. And now you can click and drag this around. You're free to manipulate this as much as you want. Yeah, so those are photo frames. I don't know what they're called. That's what I call them. Everything's different. Yeah. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little quick layout of what pages, like putting together a page will look like. So, I'm just going to use the senior boys basketball headline just because it's already there and I have to type in anything. You're going to make this the text box for the headline the same size as the headline. Scoot it over so it's in the top left or top right. Yeah, top left of the page. So it'll be top left here. And if it's a double page, you're only going to put one headline. So say this both of these pages. There's two pages right here. Left page, right page. Say they're both senior boys basketball, then you just put a headline in the top left. But if it's two pages, two different single pages, oh my god, I didn't copy. You put a second header right here. So this would be senior boys basketball, just this page, and then header page right here. What I like to do, team photo underneath the headline. So as you see, this is probably around the size, yeah, just around the same size that a team photo would be. Yeah, so you can put it there. I like to have it directly underneath, you don't have to. And then, yeah, so you have the team photo there. And the write-up, I always like to do a little bit to the right of the headline. Just because then everything that's like significant, well, normal photos are significant. But I like to have just this little grouping right here where it's the headline on the page, the team photo right here, and then the write-up, if there is a write-up. You don't always have to have a write-up, you should have one. It adds to a page a lot. Yeah, and then say I've gotten all this lined up, there's a team photo in there. I'm gonna, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, I got this all lined up. I've got a description. Now, when you're writing captions, I always like to have text box below the photo, so that I can write above. What this is referencing right here is it's just saying that this caption is correlating with this photo right here. So you have above. Since for team photos, I don't really write captions. I don't think you should write captions. What you do is you just name everybody in the photo, and there's usually like 20 something people, so you don't have a ton of space. You do da 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 da. Pretend these are all names. There's no team photo there. But you want to do, if you're typing in real names, you're gonna do, and you're gonna do, you do the full name of the person, which is the first and last name. You do comma, space, and then the next person. Comma, space, next person. Yeah. And if you're writing in coaches, you should be naming coaches in team photos too. You can just do Mr. Russell or Mrs. Shoop. Just like that, because it's the professional. That's how you address them. Yeah, so those are a couple things. Now, one thing while making layouts, which are just how the photos are laid out, how the text boxes are laid out, everything. It's just how a page is. That's what layout means. I like to have my photos proportionate. What that means is I don't want to have the entire page the exact same photo frames, like this. I don't want to have them all boxy and all like the same, because it will look boring. It will. Like this is a bit boring. You don't want to have the entire page looking identical. You want to have a mix of usually vertical photos, portrait photos, and horizontal photos. So say the team photo there. I do like a portrait right here, make the team photo a little bit bigger. You want to have a mix. You don't want to have them all looking like this is boring. Unless you're doing studio shots, it's an exception, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, so you want to have each proportionate. You don't want to have one row really small, and the next like massive, because obviously these photos are going to look a little bit weird. You want to have them proportionate, just like this. This is the senior girls field hockey page. You can see how no photos are identical. The entire page is changing, and all of them don't look distorted or like altered in a weird way. I could make this photo a bit bigger. This isn't a perfect page. It's not done. There's no captions. There's no write-up. But yeah, you want to have them not all the photos the same. You want to have them changing, because you can see the team photos of this. Some portrait photo, like single photos right here that are square, and then you got an action shot down here. You got some portraits right here, another action shot, action shot. You want to make your page diverse. You don't want to want it to be looking the exact same. Yeah, and then one other thing, when you're laying out a page, you don't want to be putting it past this red line. So you see, if you have snap to grid enabled and snap to page margins, it'll snap to the edge. But what is right here is this red line means it's not going to be printed. And anything past the yellow line means it's not going to be printed. This is where the border of the page starts. So do not put anything past this red line or this yellow line. It's just not going to print in the book and it'll be cut off. Yeah. And then the center line, don't put anything past this blue line right here, because this is the fold in the book, and you won't be able to see anything. It's just all warped. Well, it's not warped, but it's bent. You're not gonna be able to see it. So don't keep it within the top of this red line, and if you were to draw the blue line up to the red line here, this is where you want to be putting everything on your page. Yeah. And now one rule. Well, not a rule. One thing that we do is we want to have. Oh my God, this is such bad quality. We're going to be having 3 of these. I don't even know what they're called because lifetouch doesn't let me know what they're called. You want to be having your text boxes 0.3 of an inch in width. You'll see right below my cursor, it's telling you how big this text box is. And you can also eyeball it with 3 of the boxes right here. They're points of an inch. 0.3. Because then if you have all the text boxes, other than, obviously, this is just for regular captions. Team photos, you might want a bigger, like a larger text box because you're tagging more people. And also for write-ups, you're going to want to have a different size text box. But for regular captions, just like this, you want to be having it, yeah, 3 points of an inch, because they can't use picas, because lifetouch picas aren't, I don't even know what they are. Yeah, so this is what you want the size of a text box to be. This is not a proportionate page. You'll have to build your own page. Every page will look a little bit different. That's fine. Yeah, and now I haven't said how you guys get these text boxes. So almost everything that you see on this page, I've got from the side thing right here. Now, it's incredibly simple to get a text box. All you do is click text right here, and you click and drag, and it'll give you this photo caption lorem ipsum. Just delete that. It's just a filler so you know where the text box is. Oh my God, it deleted itself when it kicked me out. What the hell? Okay. You're gonna want to enter something right as you delete it, otherwise it'll just delete itself. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm gonna go over in a later video specifications about text boxes, because as you can see right here, these are 2 different fonts. We can only use the limited amount of fonts in the yearbook, so you don't want to be using random fonts that are like completely arbitrary, because you want to have the entire page using the same fonts. So there's gonna be a different font for headline. There's gonna be a different font for captions. Yeah, and then yeah. And then I think that's everything. Oh yeah, so I got layout done. So one other thing is write up. So as you can see right here, I went over this a tiny bit. This is not a write up. This is a caption here. This is an example caption right here. So St. Jude. This is completely useless as a caption because there's no names. But this is an example of what a caption might look like. But if you're doing a write up, I'm just gonna make an imaginary one. It's gonna be Lilia Bergen thought that this year's team was superb and fantastic. I'm making this up off the top of my head. And that they played extremely well in the face of adversary. Oh my God, my spelling. This is just, you're most likely not going to quote. What you might do to get a write-up on a page is email teams, or just generally ask a person what they thought about the season. It's just one interview question that you might want to ask them that they can answer, and then you put that on the page. So it might be, say I was asking them, yeah, how they thought the field hockey season went, and how they think they played. And then you can put that on the page. What you want to do is just have that on. You want to have a write up. A write up just adds to it a lot more, and it makes it more than just writing in a page, writing and photos on a page. You want to have that so you can actually see how the season went, because you don't know how the season went when you're just looking at sports photos. They're photos. You can't really tell fully. Yeah, so you either want to ask a coach, a player, um, yeah, that'd be the two people that I would ask. Whether that be team captain, goalie, random player on the team, anybody that you can get. Most of the time, a coach will be better though, because a coach is obviously they're gonna have insight. They're gonna know how the team played. They're gonna know how they should have improved. They're gonna have a better insight than most players will. That's why you want to ask coaches most of the time for quotes, or not for quotes, for write ups. Yeah. Now, one other thing is having at least 10 faces on a page. The reason we do this is we don't want to have a page with, like, for example, this page right here. If I just deleted these, we don't want to be having a page that's just like 6 photos like this of the exact same people, because what we want to do is show as many people on the team as possible, or as many people as possible. What rule of thumb is I like to get at least one good photo of everybody playing on the team, or everybody in the class, or everybody in an event. Well, an event's different because you'll be guaranteed to have at least 10 different people, but you don't want to have the same person for each photo on a page. 2 or 3 photos of the same person is okay if it's a double page, but at least 10 different faces on every page. That's the goal for everything, because then it makes you get different photos, and it's not going to be all the same person. I was a couple years ago, there was PE10, and it was the same people in like half the photos, and it was a horrible page. So get at least 10 different people. Usually my goal will be like 25. It's not that hard. Once you got to keep moving, and you got to think about stuff that's going to happen that's going to be a good photo before you take the photo. That's the method. Yeah, so that's just a quick layout. And with this, you can start building pages. There's a couple more things that I have to go over with regards to font, but I'll go over that a little bit later. Yeah, so that's a lot of import, photo boxes, what headers should look like, everything. Not everything, but everything that you need to know right now. What I'll go over next time is fonts, what makes a good caption, write up, and yeah, that was most things that you guys need to know to start a page. There's still many things that you need to know, like, oh god, what makes a good caption? What makes a good photo is a really important one. Making sure to have people's faces. Oh yeah, one major rule that I almost forgot about was you can only have one person editing this page that I'm looking at a time. If someone else goes in and starts editing the same page that someone else is already on, it will get rid of one of these person's progress, because you can only save a page from one computer. It's really weird, but yeah. So only one person can be editing a double page spread like this. That's all pages. All pages are a double page spread. When you go in to edit them, they're not going to be the same thing on both pages, but you'll be editing 2 pages. Only one person can be editing a page at a time. So if multiple people are assigned to, say, senior boys basketball, which they're not, but and it was both pages, only one of those people could be editing it at a time, or it'll just get rid of someone's progress completely, and it's a bit frustrating. Yeah. So one thing that I like to do is there's a save button up here. Once you've done all this progress right here, and say you're gonna go to a different class, you're gonna get off lifetouch because it's interesting. You have to save. One thing that I like to do is anytime I make a bit of progress, I click the save button up here, just as a habit, because then if someone starts editing my page, I know I'm gonna have as much of my progress saved as possible, so that I don't have to worry about losing it, because you don't want to be losing your hard work when there's no reason to. So yeah, just clicking save as much as possible. It'll give you this, and then it'll put you this loading thing. It's just saving. gonna put you back in the page. Just ignore these. I don't know why it's telling me it's not on the trim line. It's just a bit funny sometimes. Yeah, you might have some frustrations with zooming in or out with lifetouch because when you press Control W, or no, not Control W, Control minus or Control plus, it minuses the quality. So what I like to do is keep it at 90%, and there's a zoom in and zoom out button right here. That just they zoom in and zoom out. I'm not gonna give it a more description. That's all they do. And then the way you move around the page, there's these two sliders right here. This goes up and down. You just click and drag. Sliders up and down, just like this. Yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know. There's a couple more specifics, but when we start to finish pages, yeah. Doop doop.